using SolidWorks, and you can basically get the artwork. You can basically see the work before it's actually produced. And if there are any mistakes that you need to correct, you correct them there without any extra cost coming in. Because if you were casting the mold before working on it, then what it would mean is that the mold would have to be recast and recast and recast, which is a whole lot of cost that you would not want. Okay, so let's go to the render medium. So these, first we have the traditional prints. This is the newspapers and the like that we see around us. Okay, and then the illustrations that we see, all those are what traditional prints. The books that we write in, the cover designs, and all those things. Yes, all those are traditional prints. And we have the on-screen renders, which is being used a lot more these days. So they are computer-generated images that are displayed on the digital screen, such as computer monitors, televisions, or mobile devices. And now we have what the headsets that are in existence that now. Okay. So digital photography, film, video games, digital illustrations, all these are what on-screen renders. And we have new hardware that has improved this realistically. One thing that you should note about computer graphics is that it is something which is technologically driven, in the sense that the more technology advances, then the better it gets. Okay. If you happen to have watched Avatar, that is the one by James Cameron, one of the blue people, his very first Avatar in 2009, the idea was conceived about 12 or 13 years earlier. But because technology had not caught up to what he wanted to do, he had to wait until technology caught up to it. And he now made the movie or the film. And then afterwards, technology has advanced rapidly. If you watch some of the behind the scenes that he does when he's shooting his films, you realize that now technology is astronomical in terms of improving how we go about computer graphics in the entertainment industry and then other forms of industry. Because at this point, surgeons can even perform surgery across the continent, from one continent into another, with the use of what computer graphics. Because the things that are on one operating room are being visually transmitted to the surgeon in another country or another continent, and the person is just going to operate on it using the machines that exist over there. Yeah. So these things help push the way and manner in which people see computer graphics. We have user interface and user experience. With this one, I need not explain to you doing IT, or do I need to run through that one? Hello? Hello? People, are you here?
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, so you know about user interface and user experience, right?
No, sir.
Richard, you are saying no.
We know of user interface, but
Okay.
user experience, I think this is my first time.
Okay. All right. How many of you have Bible apps on your phone? Bible or Quran app?
Sir, I do.
Okay. Who else? Just give me a thumbs up if you do.
We have.
Okay.
I also
Now,
have.
okay. Now, how many of you have complained about the Bible or Quran app updating itself, telling that it needs update? Thumbs up if you have complained about it. You have not. I know you have, but you will not admit it. Anyway, so when it comes to those user experience, it is basically how you use these applications. So the consistent update, because no new book has been written for either the Bible or the Quran. Okay. So when that happens, what is it updating? Why does it need updates? Because nothing new has been added. And that is where user experience comes in the sense that whenever you are using it, you would use it in a certain way. Someone will use it in a certain way. And another someone would use it different. Prosper will use it differently. So the combination of all those data that they collect, the first thing that you go and press when you open the app, the next thing that you press when you open the app, how you want to see your text appear on your screen and all those things. Okay. Some will like to zoom in, others will not like to zoom in. Some will like the app to read it out to them and all those things. So that's the user experience, how you use it based on the experience of the users. Then they restructure the things in a way to make it a bit more friendly to you so that you consistently use the application. If you go to our schools where they have grass being grown around the school, as in the various spaces in there, you notice that they have paths that they might have created. But in a certain point, you see that people have walked through the grass up to the extent that they have created their own pathway. Okay, they have created their own pathway. So now people use that path to get to their destination because they want a shorter way of getting to their destination instead of going around the entire space. Then they would basically get the shorter version, and that is user experience. Okay. So based on how people use it, use something, then you change it into that way for them to work with it. It's similar to how people sell food. You see that the next time that you go to your favorite food joint, the person might have added something new to it, which was not there. Like the person was selling the food, but there was no water, or the person was not selling sachet water. So either the person will ask someone to come and sell sachet water alongside it, him or her, or they would do it themselves. Because whenever people come there to eat, they would ask for, oh, do you have water? Do you have water? Do you have water? So based on how people are using their food or using their space, then they will decide that okay, based on this, then we should include water so that when people come, they can get water. And if they will get water, then they will stay and buy more food. Do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So that is the user experience. Okay. And we have augmented reality and virtual reality. How many of you use Snapchat? Snap, thumbs up. Okay. So you would see that in some of the lenses that you use, sometimes they would superimpose an animal face on your face or change the whole outlook of your face and all those things. That is an example of what augmented reality. And it's an interactive experience that combines the real world with computer generated content through what AR technology, digital information, and graphics. So they are superimposed onto the user's physical environment. So when you raise your phone up and then you are looking through the camera to see what is there, that is when you see that, okay, how was the app able to determine that this is my face? And then now it is smoothing my face, removing all the pimples and the wrinkles that are on my face, putting some mask over my face and all those things. That is AR technology being used. Okay. The same way when you pick up a headset and you're using AR technology, you see your environment and then things are being added to the environment within which you live or exist. Okay. Now, the AR technology has found applications in various sectors, including education, gaming, medical, training, and then retail, because there's a need to what hasten the process in getting things delivered to the audience or your clientele as fast as possible. Then we have virtual reality, which is VR. Virtual reality is an immersive experience that transports the users into a totally computer-generated environment. That one is not based on your current space, although it could be that it is your current space that a virtual version of it has been created. But if there is any change in your current space, it doesn't apply in the VR world. Okay. Yes. So that is how it works. If you've watched a film like Ready Player One, it shows how people
Yes.
are. Yes. So you have the real world that they live in, and then the virtual world that they go, and then they live another life in there. So that is a typical example of how those things work. And now, when you go to events, you see that some people come there with headsets, and people put them on, and they are fighting demons in the headset. You see them running and crashing into walls, and some people are screaming and all those things because of what they are seeing in the virtual reality world. Okay. So it's a huge thing when it comes to entertainment. And then the same applies to these industries as well. The gaming, medical, training, and retail as well. Now it has gotten to a point where sorry. Now it has gotten to the point whereby people can literally sit in their room and then try on piece of clothing in another space simply by taking a photograph of themselves and uploading it to the site, and they would fit the clothing on their body so they see how their bodies will look like if they decide to buy that piece of clothing, and it works perfectly well. So you don't have to stress about getting the Temu experience, which is what I get versus what I ordered, or what I ordered versus what I got. Are we good? All right. So yes, it has a wide range of applications such as gaming, entertainment, education, and all those things. Even now, therapy and rehabilitation comes in there. So physical and what psychological conditioning can be helped in terms of even the VR experiences. Okay. So that is for this one. Now, how many of you have the Photoshop application? Okay. We have quite a number of you. Okay. So this is the Photoshop application when you launch it. I'm supposed to run you through the whole process of getting this thing done. So what I would advise that launch the Photoshop application, and then I'll be back in 5 minutes to see. Okay, so I'll be back real quick. Just load up the application so that I can run you through the interface and then we'll try. Okay, I'll be back very soon. Hello. Hi guys. Okay, I'm back.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. So when you launch Photoshop, if it's a fresh installation, you will not see any of this color balloons over here, okay, because it's blank. But if you've done some work, that's when you see all this recently opened documents here. If you are using an earlier version of Photoshop as well, you will not see this indication of it is on your computer, in the cloud, and all those things. This is a new feature that is available in 2026. Yes. Okay. It's basically telling you where your file is stored and recently opened documents and the like. So this is not it. And if it's a Photoshop file, it will indicate with the icon here that it's a Photoshop file. If it's an image file, it will just indicate here that it's an image file. Okay. All right. This was a raw file which I worked on from Lightroom. That is, I don't know if that's the reason. Yes, this one too from Lightroom. I think that's the reason why they don't have specialized icons over here. And this is a PDF document, so you see that the PDF icon is on it as well. So that is some of the new things that you would see when you work with Photoshop. When it happens like this, you have the option of what creating a new file or opening one if your document is not here. So if you click open, just like Microsoft Word, a dialog box is supposed to open up for you. Yes. So this dialog box will pop up, and then wherever you sorry, wherever you stored your files, you can just go over there and just open it. And if it's a new file, you click on new. And because Photoshop, they know that you are going to use it for some kind of design in one way or the other. They have some presets already in existence for you. Previously, these presets were not there, but based on user experience, they decided that, okay, now people who are using our product use these dimensions a whole lot. So let's just add to it for them, such that the moment they open the application, they wouldn't waste time in going to type the exact dimensions that they want. They just use these things that exist. Okay. For those of us who used Photoshop in 2000 and 2003 or no, sorry, 2004, 2005 coming, this option, film and video, were not there, were not in there. Okay, the same as mobile were not there because even after that time, it was around that time that polyphonic ringing phones started coming in, a colored screen phone started coming in up to the point where Steve Jobs brought the whole revolution in these smartphones and all those things. So all those things were not there. It was basically photo prints and basically was print. So you see that these are the standardized paper sizes that exist because we are going to print. We have the letter, the legal, tabloid, A4, A6, A5, A3, B5, and so on. So these are the most common ones that people use whenever they open Adobe Photoshop. Because of that, they have made these places available for you so that you would not have to come in there and type in exactly what you want. So once you decide on what you want, you just select it, and then we are going to go with that set of features. Okay. And then within that, if you have your own presets that you have saved to, depending on how you work, you are doing a set of artworks for a certain client, and the client has given you specific dimensions that you're going to work with. You can save those, and then they will appear here as well. But for the purpose of this class, you're going to go with print. So I'll select A4. But let me just show you what the web option brings. If I come to web, you see that the resolution has changed the moment I switch to web to 72. But if I am at print, it is at 300. So just like you said, if you are doing things for web, you keep it at 72. If you are doing things for print, you keep it at 300 pixels per inch. So A4, and you can change the name of the document here if you want. If you are okay with the untitled, you can always save it later on. That one too works. Now we have the width and then the height, then the orientation. And this is the SI unit, which is the unit of measurement. We have millimeters, we have pixels, we have inches, we have centimeters, points, and pitches. Whichever one that you prefer to work with it. Because some clients will give you measurements in pixels, some will give it to you in inches, some will give it to you in centimeters and millimeters. So whichever one that they decide on, just select it and work with it. And you ensure that the width and the height match what is there. Then we have orientation. By default, it will put you at portrait, which is when you hold the A4 sheet with the longer side pointing upwards. If you switch to landscape, it means that the shorter sides will be the ones pointing upwards. Okay. Whichever one that you prefer to work with it. And if you want to turn on artboard too, you can turn it on, and but you can still add more artboards when you are working within Photoshop. So I'll leave it as it is. Then we have the color mode. Another color mode, we have the RGB, and then we have the CMYK. These are the major color modes that you're going to work with. RGB is purely for screen, because those are the primary colors of light, and then we have the primary colors of pigment as well. But that is not a lesson for you. So RGB is for screen display, and then CMYK is for print purposes. The RGB is red, green, blue. Those are the colors that your monitor displays. And then CMYK is cyan, magenta, and then the K is for black. So those are the print colors as well. So you can select any of them depending on what you're going to work with. So let's just stick with RGB. Then we have this 8-bit, 16-bit, and 32-bit. The 8-bit is the most common one that we use, and almost all devices can display it. The 16-bit and the 32-bit, there's not a lot of devices that can display it, so we just leave it at 8 bits. There's no need to touch anything beyond that. If you are doing something like HDRI map for light purposes and all those things, then that's where you step into the 16-bit and the 32-bit floating point system. Then the background content. If you want your background to be white, black, a specific background color, you can just click on this and select the background color that you want. Or you can just go transparent. So nothing will be at the background. You're just going to see checkered boxes in the background, which basically lets you know that it is transparent. I'll leave it at white. Then we have the color profile. This color profile, please. If you have no idea about it, don't touch it. Just leave it as it is. Because the moment you touch it, sometimes it will not display well at all. You just leave it as it is. But we have different color profiles that exist in there, a whole lot, depending on how you are going to work. Now, when it comes to the color profile, those of you who might have some this thing, who work with videos, you would understand this better. If you are shooting log 2 or log 3 on your Canon, or if you are shooting flat, in order to later color correct and all those things. That's where the color profile comes in a whole lot. And then the pixel aspect ratio, just stick to the square pixels, unless you are doing it for film or video, then you have to try and get these things in there. But most of the time, the square pixels work as well for the video. And if you switch to film and video, they might switch automatically for you. Basically, those are the settings that you need to make. Once you are satisfied with it, you just click create, and then you are good to go. Now, in the process of me teaching, if you have a question, just kindly raise your hand and ask, and I would allow you to ask it.
I think we are good to go, sir.
Okay, great. Then let's go. So when you create a new document, this is what you would get. Okay. And as you can see, everything is as supposed to be there. Now, Photoshop interface is not as daunting as some 3D applications interface. So at the very top here, we have your menu. That's the file, edit, image, layer, and the rest. And we have your options bar or control bar, where it changes depending on the tool that you selected, and some changes are constant, others to become a bit dynamic. Then we have your toolbox. This is where you have all the tools that you're going to use within Photoshop here. Now, if you look at the top of the toolbox and then the options bar or the control bar here, you see that there's a small dotted line there. Anywhere you see the dotted line, it means that you can basically tear it off like this. You can take that portion off and position it in any space that you want, just like that. Okay, you can just tear it off just like that. So it works with everything that has that series of small dashes at the end. Wherever you find it, you can just tear it off and work with it anyway. And if you see this double arrows, it means that you can expand something or contract it. So if I expand, I have all this space here. Then you can contract it, and then you see that there's lesser space here. Now, some of you would have smaller screens, and when that happens, it's not all the tools that are going to be displayed and all those things, because Photoshop would automatically try to recalculate things to fit that particular space. Okay, and that is not any trouble. The tools are still there and available for you to use. If you see any tool which has a small arrow next to it like this, okay, it means that it's going in the wrong direction. Let me drag this thing out. Okay, so when you hover over the tool, you get a small preview where you see sometimes there's this thing. So this is a quick tutorial on that specific tool. Let's hover over it. Okay. I am using two monitors, so a dual monitor setup. So the pop-up that this pop-up, yes, this pop-up, it goes to the other monitor. That's why you're not seeing it as I wanted you to see it. But basically, most of these tools have some small tutorial assigned to it, so you can just click on it and have a preview of how the tool works in case you are a bit confused about something here or there. Okay. All right. Now, so this is a toolbar, and then the toolbox, and then we have the navigation at the bottom here as well. This one gives you the information about your document. The document is this, and it's 300 ppi, and this is the zoom level. currently at 25%. Then when you come over here, this is the layers panel. Then we have the channels panel and then the parts. This part really exists if you have vector parts in there. But this is the one that you're going to use a whole lot. It's the layers panel. The layers stack on top of each other like A4 sheets. Just that, yes, A4 sheets. And in order to see what is below, it means that you have to have transparency in there or certain portions chopped off. Okay. I would show you how that one works as we move along inside Photoshop. But it's stacked on top of one another like A4 sheets. If you want to see what is the next A4 sheet below it, either you delete that one or you cut a hole in the top one so that you see what is at the bottom. So that is how the layers work right here. So we have the properties. This properties change based on what is either being selected or what you are doing. Currently, it is just giving us the properties of the document because that is where we are. We've not added anything to it. All these things will just work based on the document. We have adjustments here. What these adjustments do is that they allow you to make certain adjustments because it's a bitmap based program. It assumes that you're mostly going to work with photographs and so you have portraits, you have landscape, you have photo repair, and a whole lot of creative black and white cinematic. All these are available. Then we have single adjustment where you pick just one aspect and then work with it. Then we have the various libraries which is supposed to link you to some things online, but because I am not having a fully paid version, I will not get access to some of those issues. Then we have the gradients that exist here, and you can work on the various gradients depending on how you want to do it. So these are the preset gradients that exist in there. Then we have patterns that you can work with, and we have color. So the color pop-up exists here as well, so you can just simply work with it in here as well. We have swatches, which have been done already for you. You can also save your own swatches as well. Now, over here are some of the panels that have not been expanded to this. You can expand these panels as well. But it reduces the amount of workspace that you have. So we normally just keep them there. And then if you need it, just click on it. And then that would pop up for you. Once you're done with it, just click on it and go back. Click on it like this. These exist for you. Okay. And sometimes you are doing certain things and you will not find certain tools in there. Once you come to window, you see that all these panels are available in there for you to just click on any of them and then bring them over here. So adjustment is already there, but it's not showing currently. If I click here and I come to Windows, you see that now adjustment is visible, but properties has its own turn on. If I come here, turn on properties. Properties is now turned on, but adjustment is not in existence here. So basically, if you need something and you're not finding it here, you just come to the Windows and then you'll see it there. Here. This is the contextual toolbar. If I turn on the contextual toolbar, that floating thing is gone. There's a new thing that came, I think, in just the last two versions of Photoshop or something. They're just trying to make things easier for you, so you don't have to always go around looking for things and like that. So it changes based on what you are doing as well. Okay. All right. What next? Yes. Then we have the workspaces. See how I move this thing here. Okay. I've moved it here. Now that is how maybe I would work. You, Samuel, and Sam would work differently. And unfortunately for you, I came and sat behind your PC. And because of how I work, I decided to customize it to suit how I would work. And in the process of customizing it, I changed a lot of things. Okay. So in the process of customizing it, I changed the arrangement of your workspaces. So I just drag this thing out and then position it at the bottom here. Now, when you came and you sat down, you realize that this is not how I work, so it will become difficult for me to work. So how do I send all these things back to the default space within which I work? You have workspaces. And a window, you see workspace, and these are available for you. Also, at the top here, we have this small thing here. Once you click on it, you see essentials. The workspaces are available to you as well. Essentials, graphic and web, motion, painting, photography. So these are the default ones that exist there. Now you can save this workspace to new workspace and save it, let's say, as somewhere. And then, yes, these are available. So I save it, and anytime I want, if I come to Essentials, let me reset Essentials so you see what. So anytime I come and I click on somewhere, you see that it switches to this workspace one. So that if someone comes and does something inside your workspace, you can always go back to your own workspace without any trouble. Okay. Let's go back to Essentials. I see that over here at the top, I don't have auto select on. Most of you have auto select on, because how I work is I don't deal with auto select. I do not like auto select on, but most of you are okay with auto select being on, and that is perfectly fine. That is how you work, and don't let anyone guilt trip you to changing how you work, because that is how you work efficiently. That's perfectly fine. So anytime I ask my TA to do some design for me using my PC, when he comes, he will turn on auto select as well. So whenever I sit down, the first thing that I do is that I make sure that auto select is turned off for me. If I don't want to do that, I just come and then reset essentials or just resort back to my saved workspace. So always keep that in mind whenever you are working in any space. Okay. So that is how it is. Now you see that essentials now has these things off. So I'll come to the windows, and then I'll go to character. Yes, and now I have brought them back. Okay. Because they were off. Now I've brought them back because I work with a lot of text. So definitely I'm going to use these options that are available here. Nice and easy. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. So if you are good, then let's proceed. Now, like I was saying initially, when you come to the tool box, anytime you see this tiny arrow here, let me just zoom in and see if no one has messed up my zooming. Okay. Messed up my zooming a bit. Okay, so you can still see it. Now, anytime you see this small triangle next to any tool, it means that there are other tools that are below it. So the moment you click and hold, those tools pop up. So you see these tools. The move tool has an artboard tool beneath it. If I come to the marquee tool, rectangle marquee tool, we have what other tools below it. That's electrical marquee tool, single row marquee tool, single color marquee. Okay. Same way if I come to the selection brush tool, these are all available. So anytime you see something like that, it means that there are sub tools that are below it. So kindly take notes and then work accordingly, so that you will not be complaining that a certain tool is missing or something. So the move tool basically allows you to move things within your scene. So once you have your move tool, you can just move things over and around. Okay. So this is the reason why I don't keep auto select on. If auto select is on, you come here, you move this, it goes, it can be removed, this, it goes. Okay. Now I don't keep it because sometimes when I'm moving things, I might go and click something else and I will move it. And that's what annoys me. So I always keep auto select off. If I want to work with this one, I just right click and select it. If it's this one that I want, I right click and select it. I see that the layers are broken up. Rectangle 1, ellipse 1. Now if I position ellipse 1 on top of rectangle 2, let's change the color of this one. Now you see that you don't see that part of rectangle 1 of the rectangle in there because it is on top of it. It's layered on top of it. So now you don't see that space that the ellipse or the circle is covering. If I move it here, you don't see this portion of the rectangle. So that's how the layers work. You can see all the other parts which are cut off or are transparent. Okay. Let me show you how transparency looks like. This is a transparent background. It has this checkered hue to it. So if you see this kind of checkered place, it is mostly transparent, unless of course the person created a specific design that looks like this. Okay. So let's turn these back on. So that's for the selection tool. Now the artboard tool basically allows you to add an extra artboard, just like that. Okay. So you have an extra artboard in there, but that is not the case. Let's leave the artboard there. Okay. Now we have the rectangular marquee tool. This allows you to make a selection of a certain space. Now let me go back. If you click the home icon, it will bring you back to this page. Let me load this image of mine. So that's the marquee tool. Now I can make this selection, and then if I want to color balance it, I can now just button. So just a selected area now works. Okay. If you are working with a selection and you want to deselect it, just press Control D, Control plus D, and the selection will be deselected. Just like that, Control D, and that selection is gone. Now, if I do color balance, again, this time it will affect the whole image and not just the portion that I selected. Are we okay so far? Okay. Do this. We also call this the marching ants because of how they seem to be moving. The short answers are moving like ants who are moving along the road. So Control D will be selected. And another thing is that you have this selection done. Okay. Now I realize that no, I do not want this selection, but I would rather want to select every other part apart from this space. Instead of now going to select and then deselect, and then come back again and do all those things. What can you do? All I need to do is to press Control Shift. Wait, I think I remember I have this up. Now I'll let you see my keystrokes. Let me go and see if I'll find it. Okay. Okay. Let's just hope this works. All right. So let me see. Okay. Let's see how it goes. So Control Shift I. Can you see the keystrokes? At the bottom right of my screen. Control Shift I. But it's behaving, it's using the Mac light. Anyways, it will work one way or the other. Okay. So you would see if I'm right clicking or not. All right. So basically, now that I have this, I will just Control Shift I, and you see that now the matching ants, instead of it being just this box, now we have one along the edge here. Okay, it goes all around the edge over here. I means that all this portion is now selected. So if I do a color balancing of this, I see that every other part is affected except this portion that I deselected. Okay. Now, in the same vein, in the selection process, if you press Shift, can add. Now, the moment I press Shift, you realize that the plus sign came next to the marquee, the cursor. Plus sign has come next to it. If I press Alt, a negative sign will come out to it. So now I can take this portion of my big nose. Yes, so now if I do a color balancing on it, and the nose is no longer being affected. Are we okay? Do you understand so far? Okay. All right. Well, this is just practice. If you don't practice, then things start getting out of hand. Okay. All right. Now that's for the marquee tool. The elliptical marquee tool to just allows you to just draw certain ellipses and lines. Now with all these things, selection tools, if you're using this rectangular marquee tool, by default you get what rectangles. But in case you want squares, how do you get squares? You press a hold Shift, and you see that it will turn into a perfect square for you. So the same way, if I want a perfect circle, as I select the elliptical tool, then I press Shift to give me a perfect circle. And if I want to, in the process of selecting, I position it at a place where I do not want it to be. How do I move it? As I'm drawing, I just press hold the space bar, and it will allow me to move it around. Okay, just like that. So if I want another one, I'll press Shift to add to it, and then move it with this thing. Okay, and then that's all. So now I have this, and then I can color balance it, just like that. Okay. Are we okay? Are we good? All right. So that is for that. Now, Control D to be selected. Under the same vein, we have what single row. So what's the one that's just, it just allows you to select one pixel. So just one pixel has been selected. I'll color balance this for you to see how it looks like. And now just deselect. So it has placed a line there, but it's just one pixel. So it's so tiny that you might hardly see it. Can you see it now? See this line? It's just the one pixel that it worked with. Okay. So that is if you want exactly one pixel, then you work with that. All right. So I can come in here and type 25, press enter, and it'll zoom back into the 25 space. Okay. All right. So that's for the selection tools. Now, the shortcut key for the select is V. So if I press V to send me there, this is what, that's just M. Yes, M. If I press Shift M, it will cycle through the tools that are there. Are you observing? I'm pressing Shift plus M, and now the tools are changing rapidly. Okay. Okay. Change between this and that. But anytime you press or you click on any tool, you see that the shortcut key will be next to it. These don't have shortcut keys. That's why it's not working. But this thing, let's go here. Oh, sorry. If I press thing and I press shift thing, it'll change the artboard back to select, artboard back to select, artboard back to select. Okay, just like that. All right. Then we have the selection brush tool, where you just paint the selection and then you work with it just like that. Okay. So I'll leave you to explore those other ones. See that the selection has been created for you. Now, Control D to be selected. If I want to work with the lasso tool and just draw a selection around the face, just like that. Okay. And now you can just work. Okay. Okay. As a lasso tool. And then we have the polygonal lasso tool, where that one you're basically going to be adding points to it. Okay. Oh, when we get to that point, I'll show you. So I click, 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 all the way up to the point where I want. And then when it gets to that point, it will just create. Now, in the process of using the polygonal lasso tool and some other lasso tools, if you want to end the selection or create a looped selection, you just bring it back to its point of origin or the point where you started creating. The moment you get to that point, you realize that a small circle would appear at the bottom of the polygonal lasso tool. Once you see that, it means that when you click, it will close the loop and create your selection for you as simple as you want. It works the same way with the magnetic lasso tool, but the magnetic lasso tool works like it works well when you have high contrast foreground and background. This is the foreground, I am the foreground, and this is the background. So if it is high contrast, all I need to do is that I click once. If I click here once, now I just move my cursor along. You notice that I'm not clicking anywhere, but it gets to a point where it cannot really see the difference. When it gets to that point, you just click, and then you see that it will start putting the points there for you. The reason why I keep on stressing on the high contrast is that is how the magnetic lasso tool is able to distinguish between the background and the foreground, or the spaces in which you are trying to get the selection done. But you have to move carefully, then sometimes it doesn't detect well. So when it gets to that point, you just have to work with it and see that. Yeah. So it would help you to create the basic in case it places it at the wrong place, you just press backspace, and that point will be moved. Then you move along the way. Now this point here, and then it will create the selection for you. And because the selection was not done well, you see that there's a small selection around here. Let me just go in a little bit. There are some small selection around here, which will still be affected despite this being the main selection. Okay. All right. That's just by the way, so at least you understand how some of these selection tools work. And then we have the object selection tool. If I click on the object selection tool, you click once and then it will detect selection, and then you see that it has created a selection for me. It has created a selection for me, just like that. Okay. Now, see that if I click this, it's now segregating the selection based on how it detects things. Okay. All right. So let's undo that. It works so well that you can actually select the whole person basically. Okay. Let's work with this. 2. And you see that it has affected the whole individual and it's just gotten the selection perfectly done. Now these are what improvements that have been done in there, just like that. Okay. Okay. So let's deselect this. Then we have the quick selection tool, which just basically it will detect things as you drag it along. See, then you work just like that. So if I want to add this quick selection, simple as that. Now we have the magic one. That was the most popular tool that we were using before all these other tools came to the forefront. Now, with regards to the magic wand tool, you just click on a certain space and then it will detect the similar colors in terms of the space and then it will work with it. It is not a very reliable source of selection because if the pixels are similar on certain spaces, it will just give you a very bad selection. It still works up to some certain level, but it is not as reliable as some of the other ones that exist in there. Then comes the crop tool and the perspective crop tool. When it comes to the crop tool, if you want portions of your image gone, just click on the crop tool, you align it, and then you work with it. When you're done, you hit enter, and everything else has been cropped. Undo. And we have the perspective crop tool. The perspective crop tool works when you have something like let me go and find an ID card photograph and show you. I'm trying to find something that I can easily crop for you to see what I'm talking about. Okay, let me copy this image. Copy image, Control N. Now, whenever you are copying an image and bringing it into Photoshop, the moment you copy it, you see this says what clipboard. So it means that the size of the image that you copied, it should give you that size. And because I copied it from the web, see that the resolution is at 72. So I'll take create and then I'll just paste it here, Control V. I have this here. I'm going to pick my perspective crop tool. Now watch. See that when I press enter, just cropped it just like that for me. Are we okay? Everybody okay with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So that is how the perspective crop tool works, especially if you're working with, if you have someone to send you an ID card photo and then the person has taken it at an angle that is a bit skewed, you can use the perspective crop tool to help you work with it. And then the slice tool is for slicing images for web purposes. I ignore that. This is a placeholder or something that you use to keep trace until the actual image is given to you. You're working with some clients and they have not given you the image itself. So they're just going to keep it there until the actual image comes in, then to use it in the process. Okay. Then we have the eyedropper tool. It just basically allows you to select or sample colors. Okay. Just like that. Okay. Now, in the process of using Photoshop, when you pick the eyedropper tool, yours will be set by point sample. This the default that yours will be set at. if you click on point sample, what it does is if we zoom into the image just like I showed you the other time, this is a point sample. Okay. So if you click on that, it will pick exactly that. But you see that this color is different from this color and it's different from this color. Okay. But when you zoom out, you cannot see that difference that much. Okay. So how are you going to work with that? The easiest way is not to make it too big or too small. So it is always a 3x3 average. That is, it will pick 3 pixels by 3 pixels and then blend those colors together for you so that it becomes easier for you to match the palette. So I would advise you to switch to the 3x3 average. Otherwise, your color selection might be totally off. So switch to the 3x3 average and then it should sample all layers so that if you have multiple layers in there, it can sample through. Otherwise, it will work with just the particular layer that you are making. Okay. Yeah. So that is that. And then there's a ruler if you want to use a ruler and note if you want to add notes to the next person who is supposed to work with your system, your work. If you are giving instructions to the next person, that's okay. Let's say add more hair. Okay. And that's also once you click on add more hair, anytime someone opens it, the person would notes the person would see yes, the notes will be there for you to see. Sorry. Let me just try and get this note. This one, let's do this note. So the notes will be there for the person to see that the person should add more hair. Are we okay? Are we good so far? Okay. Let me delete this note. I don't need it. Okay. Some of these things you hardly use them because you're not working in a company that requires you to hand over your work to someone else for the person to finish it up or do something to it. And we have the spot filling brush and all those things. Okay. The spot filling tool basically helps you to work on an image that needs blemishes removed and like. Unfortunately, my image has been polished already. But let me just go in there and try and see if we can find something. Okay, let's just say we want to remove this. Click on it, and it will pick a sample from some other stage. Okay, then prepare it like that. So I see that now I have blue lines on my forehead because it is picking the source from here. So anytime you're using the spot filling brush, always define your source. How do you define a source? You press Alt and then you pick a source. So I want to repair this side with this side. So I'll press Alt, click here. Yes, and then work with it. Okay. So just be careful of that aspect. Then we have the remove tool, the healing brush tool, the patch tool, the content aware remove tool, and then the red eye tool. Nowadays we hardly see red eye because most of the cameras come with red eye already being corrected. You would see red eye in some of the earlier versions of photographs in there, where you take a photograph and the person's eye is either glowing or looks red. Okay. All right. And the patch tool basically allows you to carry, let's say, a patch. So now I have to move my eye from there. Okay. So now it is basically not there again. Okay. And we have the content aware tool, which allows you to remove the background and make all those things available by the application recalculating the space within the background. Then we have the brush tool for painting and all those things. So you can just Okay, so if I have a selection, the brush tool will always work in that space. Control D, I can work everywhere. Okay, now this works best if you have a tablet with a stylus so that you can turn on the pressure sensitive feature. But as it stands right now, it's only give you one level of thickness. But if you have pressure sensitive thickness, pressure sensitivity on, it behaves based on the amount of pressure that you are putting on the tablet. Okay. Control D. Yeah. Then we have the clone stamp tool. So the clone stamp tool works in the same way. Now my brush size is big. So how do I reduce the brush size? There are, you see where the plus key is on your keyboard, the plus key. Next to backspace. Have you seen it? Okay. Now there are square brackets and curly brackets keys below the plus key. So if you press the left square bracket, this is what is going to happen. It is going to reduce it. So left goes what? Minus. Right goes plus. It will increase the size for you. If you press that one, see what happens. Okay. So depending on the kind of thing that you want to do, you work on it by adjusting the size. So right now, I'm going to clone my eye. So I want to, okay, this change appropriate. Okay. So I press Alt and click. Now, see that I have lifted my eye. Then now click over here. Now my eye is over there. Okay. Okay. Quite simple, right? So that is how it works. But again, within that uh, process, you also have to be extremely careful as to how you go about it. Now, because I define the source, it will pick the distance from there. So anytime I move it to a certain space, you see that the preview turns differently because of the source of the listing and then the size of the brush. Okay, just like that. Okay. Okay, so that is that for that one. Then we have the pattern stamp tool as well as the EC brush, and we have the eraser to erase things. Now, the eraser tool by default would erase to the background color because my layer is locked. Okay, now let me undo this. If my layer was unlocked, now if I erase, I see that it is now transparent. Okay, but if my layer was locked, then the background color would be showing over there. Then we come to the gradient tool where you can just click and add the gradient to it. Like that. Now the gradients are taking over this thing, but it's not like that. Okay, simple as that. Okay, so the gradient behaves like an adjustment layer over the entire work. And oh, sorry, let me just show you how the gradient actually works. Now you put the gradient there. If I want it in a straight line, I'll just press Shift. If I move it there, it will turn it into, it will move in a 15-degree angle. If I move my hand from Shift, it will be a free flow. So Shift guarantees that, then that's just that. Now, the gradient has been given to these other options. The same options are available over here. So if you're using this, you have the linear gradient, you have the radial, we have the what? The angle, we have the reflected, we have diamond. So any one of them that you decide upon, just work with it. Let's go back to the linear. And then you see the small diamond and it reduces the effect of either colors. Okay. So the effect of the white vis-a-vis the black. and so on and so forth. I can add more colors by clicking on top of the gradient line. So now I have this. So if I click on this circle here, now I can change the color to something else. Okay. If I want this one, I can just click on this and change the color to this. So you can just work it out that way. Okay. So that's another. Cool. Okay. So that is how the gradient works. Then these the blur to the sharpen to work on this, and then the eye starts, the space starts becoming blur, just like that. So now I have one blurred eye and one sharp eye. Same as the sharpen and then the smart to the smart, just like that. These are basically good if you are doing painting like Photoshop and the rest. So let's move on to the pen tool, where you would use the pen tool to draw forms and just like that. And you're good to go. People use the pen tool to create selections as well. So as you practice with Photoshop, you can definitely work with the pen tool in the manner that you want. Then comes the text tool, whereby you click on it. Let's say it has other options in there that you can basically add. We have the horizontal type tool, the vertical type tool, the type mask, and then the horizontal type mask. So you click and then you can just add any text. Now, by default, it will pick the foreground color or the color in this box. So, but once you type it, you can come over here to the options bar and then change the text color. So I don't like it, I can put it pure white, and then you can change the type of font to any other type of font, just like that, without any stress. Okay. All right. Let me delete that one. And this is the path selection tool. Before I come to the path selection tool, let me skip that one and come to the rectangle, ellipse, and the other versions of the tool that are available. So if I pick the, let's switch to this one. Okay, good. Now that we are here, at least I've drawn these for you to see. The ellipse, the triangle. Now these are like the marquee tools. If you want to keep it perfect, as you're drawing, you press shift and then you draw. Or you can just basically click once, like this, click once, pop-up box will come, and then you can determine if the dimensions that you want, if you want an equilateral triangle or not. If you want an equilateral triangle, then you have to adjust it. Once you click OK, it will position it perfectly well for you, based on where you click, actually. Okay. Now let's delete this one and come to these. Now let me pick this rectangle. Now you see this, if you pick the path selection and direct selection tool, let's look at the direct selection tool. Okay, I think my earpiece. Ouch. My earpiece is screaming that it's almost low. Let's just try and finish this, and then we can always continue the speed. So once I have the direct selection tool selected, I can select this and then use the cursor key, yes, change, and then adjust it, just like that. Or I can just simply hold it and adjust it in any way that I want. Do you understand? And then this is what the path tool allows you to do. The path tool just selects the entire path as you want to move it in any way that you want. So all you need to do is just explore the tools further as you move along. Then we have the hand tool, which allows you to basically pan in your scene. That is exactly what I was doing with the space bar. If I have the selection tool here, I don't need to come all the way to the hand tool before I switch back to the selection tool. And the process of working, I just press the space bar, it will switch to the hand tool, and then I can pan and move as and when I want. Now, this is especially useful if you are working details and you have zoomed into your work such that you need to go and see another part of your scene. So I can zoom into it like this. If I have this moved all the way up there. Now I have finished working with this. I want to work on the distorted rectangle. So I just press the space bar and I can come here. The moment I release my this thing just basically switches to this part. Are we okay? Are we good? People, are you with me? Okay, now
Yes,
I wanted to show you is the zoom tool. When it comes to the zoom tool, you select the zoom tool and then you can just zoom in like this. If you want to zoom out, you press Alt, it will switch from plus to minus, and then you can zoom out. But like I said, if you want to work fast, you cannot come down here to select the zoom tool or switch the zoom tool and switch back and all those things. So all you need to do is you press Control and then you add either the plus or the minus. So minus zooms out and the plus goes there. So the plus is more or less equal to keyboard key, which comes right after the backspace. So you use those ones to zoom into your work and the likes. As simple as that. Because now at this point I have to now go back to the move tool. But if I was using this, I can just continue working just like that. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Okay. My AirPods or earpiece is shutting down. So let me quickly run you through something and then give you an assignment. You can call it a day for today. Then next week we would continue from there. At least now you understand the tools that are in there. So whenever you're working, all you need to do is just bring an image in there. So let's say Control N. I bring a print. I want an A4 poster. A3 is the ideal size for demonstration purposes. Let's just do this one. And then I bring my image here. I'll click and drag and bring it here. Now I'm going to work with this. Which one am I looking for? Someone tell me which two I'm looking for. The object. Good. I found the object I've selected. So I want the entire object. Okay, it's still giving me the same issue. Detect. Okay, I have this. I'll come over to this quick selection tool. I'm adding to this. Then I'll press Alt and select these ones. Okay. So now I've had this. I'm going to press Control Shift I, and then I'll delete these. So I have it like this. It's not the best, but at least you get an idea. Let me pick my eraser tool, shortcut key is E, increase the brush size, and I'll erase this. And then I would come and say, let me increase the size. Then I'll add text to it and say what caps lock votes for me. Okay, The text is white. That's why you're not seeing it. I'll come here in the text color. Black. Vote for me. Then I'll say for money in your pocket. If you see my poster, please vote for me. Okay. So vote for me for money in your pocket. And then if the text tool is selected, you see that these options are available. But if the text tool is not selected, these options are not available. But you can still access these options when you come over here and you click on this. These options are still available for you. Let me come here and then close this stuff. Okay. Click this. I want to reduce the size of this one from 48 to 36. Like that. So technically, I have a poster that you can print, right? If I want to preview it in a way that I would know that if it's working or not, I just press F on my keyboard, F a couple of times, F twice, and then it will send me here. Sometimes some people like to work in this manner, but if you go to the site, you're supposed to see the tools will pop up, and then this one will pop up when you hover over the site. Okay. If you don't want to work this way, you can just press F again and to come back to this as well. So vote for me in this manner, and then we are basically good to go. Are we okay so far? Okay. So it is basically 10 a.m. We're supposed to end at 11, but for today, please forgive me. I am traveling back to Cape Coast. And by 12, I should leave Tomato back to Cape Coast. So kindly forgive me. And since my business happened pause here, I would like you to go and do something similar to this, but I've given you the option to explore as much as you can. Use your own image, not someone else's image. Use your own image. And then we'll discuss it or we'll meet next week before we continue with some of the details that we need to understand when it comes to Photoshop and its totality. Do you have any questions for me so far? Questions?
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Please, I want you to go over how you managed to get the background off the image.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me crash this, bring this here. So I basically drag this over there. Okay. And then I use the tools that are available to me. The object selection tool is supposed to help with the objects, but because sometimes it doesn't really work well as you want it to be. So I drag the selection around this, and then it will recalculate everything. But you see that it is giving me some funny business. Let me come here and try it over here. Okay. So it's supposed to automatically detect things. So I would hover over it. Now this is annoying. Okay. So let's go step by step. First selection, shift, select, shift, select, shift, select. Okay. So those are some of the challenges that you might possibly face. Okay. But ideally, once you click once, it's supposed to pick everything as it's supposed to pick like this. Okay. So I click and then everything is selected for me. Just like that. Are we okay? Are you with me? Hello? Hello? Are you with me? Okay. Now, once you have this selection, this is selected, but the background is not selected. Okay. I would do Control Shift I and then invert the selection and then delete the background. Press delete and the background is gone. Okay. And then that's all. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the other way is that undo. The other way is that you can just simply use the quick selection tool. Let me undo this and then select. You see, I'm selecting this, but now it's picked up some extra this way that I do not need. So those are some of the challenges that we face. And let's try the magic one. Shift, click. That one is coding problem. So the best option is to use the object selection tool. You select the object and you press Control Shift I to invert the selection and then you delete the background. Okay. Again, we can also come in there and use the polygonal lasso tool and then Control D and then click until you create a selection around the object, and then you can now invert the selection or cut it out in a way that you would want it to be cut out. Okay, just like that. This requires a lot of precision, but the object selection tool helps in some of that precision. But you just have to be careful as to how you go about it. It's painstakingly annoying because you have to ensure that whatever that you are doing basically covers everything as it's supposed to be covered. So, for example, this selection that I'm doing, normally our cut is very close to the thing. So I'll go in closer. So instead of going this way around to this side, I am going this way rather. So that this is a background rather that to be selected. And then I'll press delete and get the background off. If I went the other way, then it will be the foreground that to be selected, and then I would invert the selection. Okay, so that is how you go about it. Those are the various ways that you can use to get the background off. Are we okay? Any other questions? Someone else's hand was up before David's question. Yes, Prince.
Sir, please.
Yes, sir. Okay. I'm listening on David. Prince.
Okay, I wanted to ask, should we keep it minimal or we can go overboard?
Oh, you can go overboard.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can go overboard. The faster you get the skill set that you are supposed to get by the end of the 4 or 5 meetings, the better it is for you and I. Okay, so you can definitely go overboard.
Thank you, sir.
But I would ask you questions to determine if indeed you did the work or not.
No problem, sir. No problem.
Okay, all right. Thank you, then. Any other questions or any other?
Sir, please, I want to find out from you, when you are selecting the background, do you hold on to any key?
No, I don't hold on to any. It is when I want to add to the selection that I press Shift. Okay. If I want to add to the selection, then I press Shift. Like if I don't want to add to the selection, then I don't hold any key. I just click, and then get it done right.
Okay. Please, my second question is, after drawing my rectangle, the ellipsis, and the triangle,
yes,
I don't know, I press the key and all of a sudden, all those layers are missing. It's just layer 0 that I see, but the triangles are on the screen.
you press which key?
I don't know what happened, but it seems all the triangles are missing from where the layers are, where your mouse is pointing.
Okay.
Yes. The only thing I see now is layer 0, but the triangle, the circle, and everything is on the screen.
Okay. Then it means that you probably press Control Shift E to flatten or merge the images into one. So if I click this, everything becomes one. You see. So let's undo it and let's see if that works for you. Control Z.
So how do I go about it?
Control Z. Yes. Is it working?
I've seen group 1 here.
Group 1, you are pressing Control G, not Control Z. Control G will group them. If you press Control G, it will put it in a group list. But that's not what I want you to press. Okay, Control Z, Control plus Z.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Is it working now?
Yes, sir.
So now you can see the layer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, that's good. Any other
Thank
person?
you, sir.
You're welcome. Any other person? Any other person? Okay, if there's none, then I guess we can call it a day for today. And I would, Emmanuel, kindly send me a reminder this evening. By that time, I'll be in Cape Coast, and I'll
Okay.
send you the link. I'll send you the link to the videos, the previously taught videos. Then you can have more content knowledge pertaining to this course. Okay.
Okay, sir. I'll do
All
that.
right. Then. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And then I wish you all the best for and I'll see you next week Sunday. But between now and then, if
Sure.
you have any challenges, just contact Emmanuel and then he will let me know about it. Then we will see how best we can solve some of the issues that will pop up. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So enjoy the weekend and I will see you next week. Bye.
Bye. And thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Ima, the slide the man used, is that the same
Yeah.
slide he sent to us?
I've not opened any of them yet, so unless we check it ourselves and see.
Okay,
I've not
but
opened
like,
any.
I've opened it, but it's like it's different. What he was presenting is different from what is in the slide.
Okay.
I was trying to follow him, but it wasn't matching.
You checked all the slides I posted, right?
Yeah, I've opened all.
Oh, okay.
So you can clarify that from him, and we'll see what.
Oh,
Okay.
all right. All right.
Akotia yapon class exit. Akotia, are you asleep?
Boys, you share course as you want to go overboard. Hey.
Samuel, what you talk?
I say the other guy, when the teacher was telling us to try hands on, says, oh, no, straight up or go overboard. Says, course, and I hear you who is so proud of you say, oh, no, go crowd. Ujai wako.
Yeah, that's how it be.
Actually, there's something I don't know about. He says you get any tutorial, yeah, and if you pass it on, like the basic levels,
Okay. For it to help you better, you try and find basic videos on YouTube. Watch them and you'll get it. Photoshop is actually I'm a designer, so but I learned from Photoshop. No one taught me Photoshop, so you can learn. It's very simple.
I hear champion, thanks.
All right,